In a move that sent shockwaves through the basketball world, Luka Doncic, once considered the face of the Dallas Mavericks, was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers. But what really left fans stunned wasn't just the trade itself, it was the reason behind it. Leave your like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any updates. According to Mavericks general manager Nico Harrison, the organization had growing concerns over Doncic's physical conditioning. Yes, you heard that right. His body was at the center of one of the most surprising deals in recent NBA history. And that's when the conversation exploded. Was Luka really out of shape? Was this superstar, who regularly drops 30, 40, sometimes even 50 points in a game, really not fit enough to carry a franchise? The media ran wild with the story. Pundits debated endlessly. And fans were split. But now, amid a storm of rumors and public scrutiny, one former NBA player has stepped forward to speak up. And he didn't hold back. Michael Beasley, appearing on the Moshe Popak podcast, delivered a passionate defense of Luka Doncic, and absolutely tore apart the narrative that's been building around the Slovenian star. "Man, to be honest with you, I hate that narrative about Luka," Beasley said bluntly. "I see it in the headlines, I hear it on TV, but it doesn't make any sense. People clearly don't understand what it means to be out of shape. Because if Luka's out of shape, how is he putting up those numbers?" And Beasley has a point. Luka Doncic has routinely carried his teams on both ends of the floor. He controls the game, dominates possessions, and puts up numbers that very few in the league can match. In a league where even slightly underperforming players get exposed, Luka has been thriving. "You don't score 40 or 50 points in an NBA game if you're not in shape," Beasley continued. "That just doesn't happen. The NBA is too tough. It takes insane conditioning, especially when you're the guy who's running the offense every night. People are out here pretending they know what peak fitness looks like, but Luka's proving them wrong every time he steps on the court." But the criticism hasn't just been about his performance. It's been about his appearance. For years, critics have pointed out Luka's body type, his lack of speed on defense, and have often jumped to the conclusion that he's overweight or undisciplined. And after the trade, the narrative took an even darker turn. Reports began circulating that the Mavericks weren't just worried about defense. They were allegedly concerned about Luka's habits off the court, suggesting that his lifestyle and physical upkeep didn't align with what the team expected from its star. That's when people like Beasley started to speak up. "Look, this whole mess. That's on the franchises," Beasley said. "They're the ones making these moves. And when things backfire or fans push back, they need a reason. They throw players under the bus. But this isn't just about a headline, it's about careers. It's about people's money, their futures. And it's not fair." And Beasley isn't alone. Several voices around the league have hinted that Dallas may have exaggerated their concerns about Luka as a way to soften the backlash from fans. After all, trading away a generational talent isn't something you can do quietly. You need a narrative. And in this case, it seems that Doncic's body became the scapegoat. But here's where the story takes a turn. Just weeks after the trade, Luka Doncic was spotted attending a Real Madrid game in Spain, the same club where he began his basketball journey. But this time, it wasn't his presence that caught the world's attention. It was his body. Photos and videos from the event showed a visibly slimmer Luka Doncic. His face looked leaner. His posture lighter. And social media. It went into a frenzy. Was this a sign of a complete transformation? Rumors have already started swirling that Doncic is taking the off-season more seriously than ever before. That he's on a mission to prove everyone wrong, not with tweets, not with interviews, but with his body and performance. Sources close to the player suggest that he's undergoing a complete physical revamp, preparing to show up in training camp with a new level of fitness that silences every critic once and for all. And if that's true, the NBA might be in serious trouble. Because if Luka Doncic has been this dominant without being in peak shape, what happens when he is? One thing is clear. This off-season storyline isn't going away anytime soon. Luka's body has become the unexpected centerpiece of one of the most dramatic off-seasons we've seen in years. And as the new season approaches, all eyes will be on Los Angeles, waiting to see whether this trade turns into redemption or revenge. So what do you think? Is the criticism fair? Or are people just looking for something to blame? The Los Angeles Lakers' 2024 season came to a bitter and unexpected end. After showing incredible resilience in the second half of the regular season, overcoming injuries, rotations, and a wave of doubt, the Lakers looked like a team on a mission. They were fast, aggressive, and dangerous. Many analysts placed them among the favorites to make a deep playoff run. But instead, they were bounced out of the first round by the 6th-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves in just 5 games. This sudden collapse raised more questions than answers. One of the biggest question marks? The curious case of Jackson Hayes. Now, let's rewind. Hayes had been a steady piece in the Lakers' frontcourt rotation throughout the regular season. Averaging nearly 20 minutes per game, he brought athleticism, energy, and rim protection. While he wasn't putting up superstar numbers, his presence gave the Lakers some needed size and a vertical threat around the basket. But as the season progressed, and especially once the playoffs began, his role started to shrink dramatically. In the playoffs, Hayes averaged just 7.8 minutes across 4 games. And in the critical Game 5, the Lakers' final stand, he didn't see the floor at all. Fans were puzzled. Why was the team's only reliable big man being sidelined in the most important games of the year? Many pointed fingers at head coach J.J. Redick, wondering if it was a coaching decision based on matchups or something more complex behind the scenes. Well, according to Lakers insider Anthony Irwin of Clutch Points, it wasn't just a tactical decision, it had a psychological and financial impact on Hayes as well. Irwin revealed, "There's an outside chance of Jackson Hayes returning, but he wasn't thrilled about his role disappearing in the postseason and the money he lost as his minutes dwindled." From the Lakers' perspective, they're weighing Redick's loss of confidence in him, how he might react to them bringing in a replacement, or the inevitable demotion he'd be facing this summer. Think about it. For a young player like Hayes, who was trying to revive his career after a rocky start in New Orleans, this was supposed to be a season of redemption. A new city, a new system, and a chance to carve out a real role on a championship contending team. And for a while, it looked like that might actually happen. But it didn't. Instead, Hayes found himself on the bench when it mattered most, watching his team get overwhelmed in the paint by a bigger, stronger Timberwolves squad. The Lakers' lack of front-court depth became painfully obvious. They had no real backup plan, and yet Hayes wasn't part of the solution. What made matters worse was the timing. Hayes is set to become an unrestricted free agent this offseason. And let's be honest, a disappearing act in the playoffs doesn't exactly help your market value. Losing minutes is one thing. Losing potential contract dollars because of those lost minutes? That stings. Still, it's not entirely fair to place the blame solely on Hayes. The Lakers' front office made several bold moves throughout the season, including the headline-grabbing acquisition of Luka Doncic. While Doncic's arrival brought offensive firepower and star appeal, it also shifted the team's identity. The roster became more perimeter-focused, which only magnified their vulnerabilities inside. In hindsight, it's clear, the Lakers gambled on offense and spacing, but underestimated how much size and rim protection would matter in a playoff series against a team like Minnesota. That miscalculation cost them dearly. And now, with the off-season underway, the Lakers are at a crossroads. They need to rebuild their frontcourt. They need to rethink their rotation. And they need to figure out whether there's still a place for Jackson Hayes in their future plans. The reality: his return is far from guaranteed. Even though Hayes is just 25 years old and still has untapped potential, his diminishing role, combined with head coach J.J. Redick's apparent lack of trust, could push him out the door. If the Lakers do bring in a new center, and all signs suggest they will, Hayes would likely be bumped further down the depth chart. So where does that leave him? For Hayes, this summer will be critical. Whether he stays in Los Angeles or finds a new home, he'll need to prove that he's more than just an athletic body, that he can contribute consistently, and that he deserves another shot at meaningful minutes. For the Lakers, this is a cautionary tale. A reminder that balance matters. That you can't rely on offensive firepower alone. That even in a league dominated by shooters and guards, size still wins games. Especially in the postseason. As for the fans, they're left wondering what could have been. A promising season derailed. A young center silenced. And a team, once seen as contenders, left searching for answers. So what's next? Will the Lakers keep Jackson Hayes and try to rebuild his confidence? Or will they move on and chase a more established presence in the paint? And more importantly, Will they finally learn from this postseason failure? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, the decisions made this offseason could define the Lakers' future for years to come. Lakers Nation, buckle up, because this rumor could change everything. After a season that started full of hope and ended in disappointment, the Los Angeles Lakers are reportedly gearing up for a major off-season shakeup. The front office is looking to correct the flaws that led to their early playoff exit, and that means exploring the trade market in a big way. And now, one name has entered the conversation that no one expected: Kevin Durant. That's right, according to recent speculation and inside reports, the Lakers may be eyeing a blockbuster trade for the Phoenix Suns superstar forward, Kevin Durant. This move would bring Durant to LA to join forces with LeBron James and Luka Doncic, forming a superstar trio that could dominate the NBA, at least on paper. But, as you'd expect, a deal like this wouldn't come cheap. Sources indicate that the Lakers may have to part ways with one of their most beloved players, shooting guard Austin Reeves, as part of the trade package to acquire Durant. Let's take a step back and talk about why this is even being considered. Durant has reportedly been unhappy in Phoenix. Despite high expectations, the Suns failed to meet playoff goals in back-to-back seasons. After just 2 years with the franchise, Durant may be looking for a new opportunity, and the Lakers, with LeBron still hungry for another title, could offer the perfect landing spot. But let's not ignore the emotional impact this deal would have. Austin Reeves has been a fan favorite in Los Angeles since the day he arrived. The undrafted guard has blossomed into a dependable scorer, fearless playmaker, and clutch performer. He averaged 20.2 points, 5.8 assists, and 4.5 rebounds per game last season, a career best by every measure. Fans love his underdog story. They love his chemistry with LeBron. They love his heart. But here's the tough reality. If the Lakers want to bring in Kevin Durant, they're going to have to give something big in return. And Austin Reeves might be the price. Now let's look at what Durant brings to the table. Even at 36 years old, Kevin Durant is still one of the most dangerous offensive weapons in the NBA. He can shoot from anywhere, he creates his own shot, and he's got championship experience with the Golden State Warriors. Add that to a Lakers team that already features LeBron James, still playing at an elite level, and Luka Doncic, one of the brightest stars in the league, and you've got a trio that's built to win now. Think about it: LeBron's leadership and court vision, Luka's creativity and scoring, Durant's versatility and length. On paper, it's terrifying. For opponents, that is. But there's another side to this. Durant has dealt with multiple injuries over the past few seasons. He's not the same two-way force he was during his prime years. And while his offensive skills remain elite, his age and health bring big question marks. Would the Lakers be giving up long-term potential in exchange for a short-term gamble? That's the risk. And don't forget, the Lakers already have 2 superstars. Do they really need a third? Or should they invest in building a stronger bench, adding defense, and developing players like Reeves who can be reliable for years to come? There's also the Suns' perspective. If Phoenix agrees to this trade, they'd be landing a young, high IQ, high-effort guard in Reeves who fits perfectly next to Devin Booker. With the Suns already moving toward a new identity, bringing in a player like Reeves could help shift the team's dynamic and keep them competitive while giving them flexibility for the future. This rumored trade would be one of the biggest moves of the offseason. It would shake up the Western Conference. And it would send a clear message. The Lakers are going all in. The window for LeBron James isn't going to stay open forever. And after acquiring Luka Doncic in a previous move, the pressure to win now is higher than ever. Adding Kevin Durant would put them in championship or bust territory. So here's the question for you, Lakers fans. Would you trade Austin Reeves, a player who's grown into a rising star before your eyes, for Kevin Durant, a future Hall of Famer who could help bring home a title right now? Or do you stay loyal to your young core and build a balanced team for the long run? Whatever your opinion is, one thing's clear: the Lakers' offseason is about to get very interesting. The rumor mill is spinning fast, and if this Durant trade becomes reality, it could be one of the most explosive moves in recent NBA history. Stay tuned. Because if the Lakers pull this off, the entire league will feel it.